Hey guys, we are live. Thank you guys for being here. Let me put my other light on. Thank y'all for being here, guys. We have an update for the Shanquilla case. I want to go ahead and get that out the way. So thank y'all for joining. Please don't forget to hit that like button if you can for me so that we can stay in the algorithm. All right. Yes, and we getting ready to talk about this so y'all can be in the know, honey. All right. Yes. We are back. We are back. We are back. So let's get into it, honey. Let's get into it. We do have an update for the Shanquilla Robinson case. Let's get into it. So they've dropped something new. We're going to get into it. Says it update shared for the Shanquilla Robinson case at North Carolina News Conference. Okay. Let's go ahead and share our screen so we can get into it. As you guys can see, I changed my background to a Mexican background because this is where this crime occurred, in Mexico. All right. Let's get into it, Lord. All right, so we're going to play. We're going to play the video first, and then we're going to get into the news, okay? Let's go. So civil rights attorney Ben Crump was set to share updates Thursday in the case of Shanquilla Robinson, a Charlotte woman who passed away on a trip to Mexico. Let's go.
If you work with PDFs at all, you need Adobe Acrobat. You can edit, share, sign PDFs, and more. The whole PDF.
I hate hearing that. We're going to get into. All right. And one. Hold on. All right. Let's go.
An amazing and I think quite impactful town hall on faith, justice, economic justice, and politics. We are here in Greensboro, North Carolina on April 17th, and what is historic about this day is that it is the end of 40 days. Reverend Jamal Bryant and all of us who coalesced with him called for a 40-day Target, Walmart, Google, Amazon, and anybody who rolled back DEI, we rolled back our money. Reverend Bryant has concluded his meeting with the Target CEO in Manhattan, and he told me to let you know that Greensboro, North Carolina will get the first word about the outcome of that meeting. We're here for justice. Everybody say justice now. Specifically, we wanted to hold this press conference to announce the first time from within the Ben Crump law firm establishment and the front-running, not the only, but the front-running justice organization, Justice for the Next Generation, that stood with Tena Smith and her family to achieve a historic settlement in the case of Fred Cox. Fred should not be dead. 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 Reverend Aaron, members of the Pulpit Forum are here with us. We are in this International Civil Rights Museum, the home of justice, where sit-in started over 50 years ago, and where the work in Greensboro, North Carolina is still churning out justice. We are here because after Fred was made to be a common criminal, after he was shot in the doorway of a church attending a funeral, and he was made out to be a gang member and allegedly was said even by High Point, North Carolina police that he had a weapon and he was there to weaponize his presence. It was all a lie. Senator Murdoch, join us over here. They did to Fred Cox's legacy, or tried to, what they did Ben to George Floyd's legacy. They tried to pin his death on him. They tried to make him responsible for the injustice committed against him. Y'all, I hope you hadn't forgot what they tried to do out of High Point, North Carolina. They tried to say that Fred was responsible for his own lynching. But because Ben stepped up, because attorneys across North Carolina stepped up, because the Fred Cox Foundation stepped up, because of justice organizations throughout our state and even outside of our state stepped up, we are here to announce that the Fred Cox Life Matter and Tena Smith and her family have reached a settlement in Fred Cox's case. We're here to celebrate. Somebody say, let justice roll down. I present to you now Black America's Attorney General, Attorney Benjamin Crump.
Thank you so much, Reverend. Thank you, Reverend Drumright. And it was you and the young people in Justice for the Next Generation who came to North Carolina High Point and stood for Fred Cox before the lawyers got there, before the cameras got there, before the legislators made it a legislative issue, Senator Murdoch. So I want to applaud you, Reverend Drumright, for all your tireless work in the venue to get justice. And I have to say a word about this courageous Black mother.
Oh my.
Because it is Black mothers oftentimes when our children's blood are spilled unjustly that refuse to stay silent. They refuse to go quietly into the night. They refuse to let it be swept under the rug. And Tena Shannon, she refused to let Fred's death be in vain. I remember when Netflix was shooting a documentary, they said, well, what is this case about? And they could not believe that this young man who was a hero, how they painted the narrative that he was a criminal. Attorney Lee, you remember all the times that they literally kept telling the lies that, no, we're not going to charge the undercover police officer for killing this unarmed teenager who was trying to help save people and put them into the church. But they said that this unarmed police officer who was out of his jurisdiction came across county lines and shot into a crowd of innocent parishioners who were there mourning. I mean, he could have killed anybody. And tragically, he killed Fred Cox, Tanika's baby boy, her only child. And it was a shame before God. And then they tried to lie about it. But thank God we're in these hallowed grounds of the Civil Rights Museum here in Greensboro, North Carolina, to say that a lie won't live forever. And we got historic justice and the highest amount ever paid out in High Point, North Carolina, in that county, a $4 million settlement to have some measure of justice for Tena Shannon. It's because of you saying that they will not define the legacy of Fred Cox. We will define the legacy of Fred Cox. Justice for the Next Generation, the activists, Jason Lee, all the...
I guess Ben Crump is working, huh? I gotta eat my words a little bit, Ben, because I was trying to go off on you in another video, so I see you out here doing the doggone thing. Yes, honey, justice for Mr. Cox, okay?
Civil rights lawyers, Tony Romanucci, all of them who did not think it robbery to say, we will stand with this Black mother, even if nobody else stands with her, and we will define his legacy. And his legacy, Reverend Drumright, will be one where now that the Department of Justice has said that they will no longer have criminal investigations on some of the most consequential civil rights cases of police brutality, like Fred Cox, like Breonna Taylor, like the Tyree Nichols case. Y'all remember Tyree beat in Memphis, Tennessee? Well, DOJ said they're not prosecuting those killer cops anymore. And that's where Fred Cox's legacy will begin, because we gonna get justice if y'all don't lend a hand, if y'all don't give us any help at all.
That's it.
We are enough. We will save ourselves. We will get our own justice. That will be the legacy of your baby Fred Cox. We all we need, we all we got, and we gonna be all right.
Oh,
Amen.
All right now.
Ooh, I knew they was gonna ask me if I wanted to say something, and I wasn't quite prepared. But I am Tena Smith, the mother of Fred Cox. That he was shot November 8th, 2020, in High Point, North Carolina, attending a funeral.
Oh,
And I publicly want to thank everyone that has stood by myself and my family during this time. Fred was not just my baby, he was my only baby. Hold your children near and dear.
that's right.
I left to get dinner and came back to my baby being gone. And for 10 days, not knowing who killed my baby, what truly happened to him. They led me to believe for 10 days that he was killed by a gang. They led me to believe for 10 whole days that my baby had a gun that never existed, that they never found, and that he was a gang member that I never knew about, and the DA had to go and retract all of that.
Amen. A lie won't stand.
A lie will not stand. I did not give up. I fought. I didn't sleep. Sometimes I slept too much. I literally lost my mind.
Wow.
I literally had to spend countless nights in the mental hospital, PTSD, anxiety, but I still did not give up.
Amen.
Because I know even though my baby was killed in the church, I knew God was still there with me. He never left my side.
Wow.
Had it not been for Reverend Drumwright, Attorney Ben Crump, Ramanucci, Heather Radelaide, my God, I get on her nerves, I'm sure, and my local attorneys, McPherson and Mills, this journey would not be what it is. I appreciate my foundation, Fred Cox Life Matters Foundation. Thank y'all so much. No matter how crazy it seemed, how late it would be, they was always there by my side. To my mom, my niece, thank y'all for not giving up on me. Even when I gave up on myself. Many people don't know that when it was announced that the officer was not going to be charged in the death of Fred Cox, his daddy passed away.
Yep.
He called me, he said, Sadiqa, I can't handle this. You're stronger than I am. And I never knew where that strength came from. He said he couldn't take it. He took his last breath. So not only am I fighting for my son, I'm fighting for his dad. I'm fighting for my grandson, my granddaughter. My dad, he passed away.
Wow.
Broken heart.
Wow.
So even today, even though this announcement is here, I will stand with any mother, any family. If you call me, I'm coming. I'm going to do my best to come. This fight is just not mine, it's ours. Because when it happens to you, it happens to me. Thank you.
And I would just say it's been 4.5 years, this journey to justice. And as we said at the panel, oftentimes when people are going through struggles and challenging situations, we say, where is God during these times? And I'm reminded of the parable of an old Black woman who said, remember, the teacher is always quiet during the test. Thank God, Tanika, that you remained faithful. You took the test and you knew that there was a God on the throne. And now you have a testimony because you passed the test, good and faithful servant. And your son is looking down from heaven, very proud of his mama. Fred should not be dead. Fred should not be dead. Fred should not be dead. Fred should not be dead.
Thank you. I want to ask an attorney that has really, Mr. Crump, taken just a behind the scenes role, one of the most courageous and bold and impactful civil rights attorneys in our state. And she was one of the first attorneys that answered the call to and put forth action, Attorney Crump, if you remember, that got the state of North Carolina to come out and speak to Fred's family. It did not happen before Attorney Heather Raddeley came onto the scene. I want to ask her to have a word because she's responsible partially for our success.
It's a team effort. Thank you, Fred.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Heather.
And I came to be involved in this case because of one of my mentors, Reverend Theodore Spearman. And he had called me and was telling me about this mother whose son was killed. He was shot in the back while he was saving the life of a 9-year-old and his mother, pushing them into the church before he ran into the church. And I spoke with Tanika night after night, sometimes till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. The SBI was investigating. As far as they led her to believe, these were gang members that had shot Fred. And they closed the investigation. The SBI released a press release and declared that Fred was a gang member and that they'd never mentioned a law enforcement officer. It didn't make sense. Nothing made sense.
You covered it up.
So I called the State Bureau of Investigation's general counsel at the time, and I sent her an email, and I explained that the two people, the 9-year-old little boy and his mother, who Fred saved, the 9-year-old little boy was even grazed by a bullet. They had never been interviewed. They were the eyewitnesses. The SBI never interviewed them. But when the general counsel learned that, she immediately called the agent in charge and said, reopen the investigation and you're going to go interview these witnesses. Didn't do much in this case, but I at least wanted to make sure that that investigation was as thorough as could possibly be. And I wanted those victims' voices heard because Fred was a victim, his mother was a victim, and I can't remember, Tavares Johnson, the 9-year-old little boy, he was a victim. But we stood by. Ben took hold, Ben and Tony Romanucci, and they hit the ground running, and they made a difference. And I appreciate it. This is historic. It's historic. This is a historic case for North Carolina.
You laid the groundwork, Heather.
It's not just pipeline. It's for North Carolina.
Thank you, Heather, for your great work.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
We're here at
the force of nature.
We're here at the epicenter of justice work right here in this building, which used to be the Woolworth's department store, is where 4 brave students from North Carolina A&T State University sat down and refused to get back up. And it erupted what we now know as the National Sit-In Movement. We want to thank the architects of putting this museum together, where hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world visit Greensboro, North Carolina every day. The board members, the founders were with us at the town hall. We have the Honorable Dina Hayes Green, who was here to give us remarks on behalf of the Civil Rights Museum.
Good afternoon. I first want to say, as a mother of 4 Black children, 3 who are boys, that I love you and I'm sorry. I can't imagine. And while we applaud for justice, it is in no way adequate for the loss of life and the loss of your son and the grief for your family.
Amen.
And thank you to you all who continue to stand up in the face of insurmountable legal barriers. I want to say in 1993, there was First Citizens Bank that owned the building next door in this building. And in 1993, they wanted to demolish this site for a parking lot. And this man here, he was Councilman Earl Jones at the time, and County Commissioner Skip Alston tried to preserve this building, and they said no. And so they said, over our dead bodies, will you demolish this building? And they said, we'll have every Black person in the city of Greensboro and the state of North Carolina lie in front of bulldozers, because they wanted to make sure this isn't a historical relic. There's David Richmond over there, whose father was one of the young men. There's David Richmond. His father was one of the 4 young men from North Carolina A&T State University who risked their lives so that people could have access to public accommodations and facilities. So this isn't just something that we need to remember, because 65 years later, we find ourselves right back in that same place. People aren't trying to whitewash history, they're trying to erase history.
That part.
They're trying to make sure that we don't know what had to be done to make sure that people get justice, that they get equity, that they get access. And we have to remember, people were willing to risk their lives. We have to at least match that, because some of us don't want to be uncomfortable, right? When you all were calling for the boycott, and we deleted our Amazon apps. Target was easy, Walmart was easy, Amazon was challenging. But if we're not willing to be uncomfortable and being able to access some widgets, and people were willing to risk their lives and are still risking their lives, we're not about liberation and justice. And so this is a call to action, and there will be another call to action this evening at 6 o'clock. This has been going on for 2 months. Yes. This is the culmination of 8 weeks, and if you haven't been there, that's okay. But if you're not there tonight, and if you're not there going forward, you just have to ask yourselves, are you asking people to give up their lives for your freedom, for your justice, and for your future? You have to be a part of this. And so I want to thank all of the warriors and the organizers and the freedom fighters and the people who have been doing this for decades in our lifetime and need to pass the baton. So thank you. This is the most amazing place to have this event here, to remind us that as racism evolves, anti-racism must evolve.
Amen.
Because we are right here living this again. So thank you.
Come on.
Very quickly, before we take just a couple questions from the press, I want to present our justice front runner. She just really made the town hall a very impactful and educational event. Greensboro's own Senator Natalie Murdoch.
Right,
Thank
excellent,
you.
y'all.
It just feels great to be here at the Civil Rights Museum to make this amazing announcement to get justice for Fred Cox. He should still be here with us. And so I think in addition to the town hall, it's just a great way to end, to know that in the midst of these times, as those freedom fighters put their lives on the line, to be reminded the fight is still ahead of us. We have to continue to fight. And in the midst of that fighting, we have days like today where the work of everyone up here finally got justice. I know it's just a small token because your son should still be here with us. Amen. So we're continue to be here with you. When the cameras go away and everything else settles, know that you have not only who's here, but so many other people that are holding you in our hearts, standing in the gap for you, so that this does not happen again. Honored that in my hometown, we can make this announcement. And on behalf of my other colleagues that are working to have state laws that provide justice to these Black boys, we will continue to work, knowing that the justice system, every now and again, when you get the right people on your side, can work in our favor. So thank you for sharing your story and for fighting.
Any questions from the media?
Thank you, Senator Murdoch. The most relevant news, I think, really is about DOJ abandoning these parents and families of lost loved ones, but especially young people. I was with an 18-year-old family in Knoxville, Tennessee. It was Knoxville's version of Breonna Taylor. No, not one at 7 a.m. in the morning threw a flash bang into the house. Two little sisters, mama, grandmama, come in there, shoot the boy who's in his underwear. No criminal history, no
Wow.
criminal activity at all in the house. And they claim the reason they got this no knock warrant flash bang to throw a grenade inside the house was they said they had social media posts where he allegedly was selling marijuana. And I said, are you kidding me? I
Marijuana.
mean, it's the tale of what we were talking about on the panel, the two justice systems that exist in America. Can you imagine them kicking in white teenage boys' families' homes because they allegedly experimented with marijuana or smoked marijuana? But that is what we have to fight now more than ever. And if the Department of Justice and many of the state agencies, Senator Murdoch, are going to abandon us, now Heather, now Attorney Jason, Keith, that's when more than ever we need justice for the next generation. We need the community to stand up for our community, because if they don't think the Constitution was meant for us, as my personal hero Thurgood Marshall said, we gonna make it apply to us anyway.
Yes, yes.
Right. Any questions?
Do you have any updates on other cases you're working on? Shanquilla Robinson, do you have any updates on other cases you're working on?
Certainly. We found that's the case, Attorney Jason and Reverend Drumright. The sister Shanquilla Robinson from Charlotte, North Carolina, went down to Mexico. It was brutally killed by her 4 friends who accompanied her. I don't know if we can call them friends, but
Right.
the 4 people who traveled down with her. And Attorney Sue Ann Robinson in our office, we just filed a $100 million lawsuit against those individuals and the federal government.
Yes,
who
come on.
claimed that they had no authority or legal powers to charge them. So you had an American citizen get killed. You have all the evidence in the world. They had the Mexican government say, we will charge them, but they're in America and we have no jurisdiction to come and get American citizens.
Come on.
Which begs the question, what's happening in Maryland and El Salvador. But we can't believe, when you think about Natalie Holloway, the young white girl who was killed on a ship, America went and did whatever they had to do to bring justice against her killer. Why wouldn't they do this for this young, beautiful black woman who was as innocent as can be? On the video, it shows her refusing to fight back. And yet they beat her to death, literally.
Yeah.
And so thank you for that question, because so many times we forget the hashtags when we get new hashtags. But Shanquilla Robinson, and she deserves justice just as much as anybody else. Thank you for that question.
Come on. I got to clap on that.
Was hoping that with the new administration that they would reopen that case. Any talks or any works with that?
I think the new administration haven't given one iota of a thought to Shanquilla Robinson and her plight, her family's plight for justice. Just like with Tena Smith, Fred's mother, if there's to be justice, it's going to be civil rights lawyers like Heather and Jason and community advocates like Reverend Drumright and courageous senators like Senator Natalie Murdoch, who keep saying her name, Shanquilla Robinson, saying it in the courthouse, the state house, and the community every day until we get some measure of justice. And I do believe we would get a historic verdict. The only question is, will the United States Justice Department be allowed to be put on the verdict form? Because we think that they were malfeasant in their responsibility to an American citizen.
Mm.
Thank you.
Come on.
Thank you all for being here. We'll see you at 6 p.m. at New Zion Missionary Baptist Church. Thank you, everybody.
So as you guys can hear here, they have filed $100 million lawsuit, okay, in this Shanquilla case against the justice system because they've not done anything. Mexico, they're cooperating, saying, hey, we just got to do extraditing in terms of extradition in order to get them back here. And that's it. The U.S., they're like, we're not doing anything. That's on them. That's on Mexico. But the people who committed the crime is from the U.S. And I get it. There are laws and different boundaries that you can't cross in terms of that. But they're not doing anything. So they're not doing anything. And these people are still running around here just free after they've taken somebody's life and they've had everybody I feel like should be charged because no one came forward to tell the truth. Nobody stopped it. Nobody reported it. They all came home and acted like nothing ever happened. So, yeah, they definitely need to do something. So they said that civil rights attorney Ben Crump shared updates this Thursday in the Shanquilla Robinson case, said that a Charlotte woman who passed away on a trip to Mexico. Crump spoke after 4 p.m. on Thursday, April 17th, at a press conference in Greensboro, North Carolina. It said that you can watch the press conference above. Said that Crump announced that he and his team has filed a new $100 million lawsuit in the Shanquilla Robinson case. It says that it was not immediately clear what updates related to Shanquilla Robinson's case would be shared. Crump was also expected to discuss other North Carolina cases, including the Fred Cox case out of High Point and the Tyrone Mason case out of Raleigh, North Carolina, according to a press release. Said that Crump was not set to be joined by others, including legal colleagues and Reverend Jamal Bryant, who organized a 40-day boycott against Target after the business decided to scale back on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Okay. So that is the update on Shanquilla Robinson, okay? Everybody already know what happened in that case. We don't have to talk about it again. So let's stop sharing. So that's the update. That is the update. So we're steady getting more momentum, all right? We're getting some more momentum just to kind of give you guys an update in case you forgot. I'm going to go ahead and play this video to refresh your memory about this case, all right? Because this is going on quite some time now, and we are looking for justice, and I think they are still working. So shout out to Ben Crump for doing his due diligence on that. Let's go ahead and play this.
Mexican authorities pursuing their case against an American suspected of killing an acquaintance at a luxury resort. They're looking to extradite the suspect to face charges. ABC's Zareen Shaw joins us with more as that woman still hasn't been named. Zareen, good morning. Hey, good morning, Janae. A 25-year-old went down to Mexico with some friends to celebrate someone's birthday. And just one day into that vacation, she turned up dead. And now officials have another big problem on their hands. Their prime suspect is no longer in the country. This morning, a potential legal limbo as Mexican prosecutors seek to extradite an acquaintance of Shanquilla Robinson, the North Carolina woman found dead while vacationing in Mexico. Authorities are not currently naming her, but say she is a direct aggressor against the 25-year-old after a video online, too violent to show, reveals Robinson assaulted in her hotel room. Mexican authorities issuing an arrest warrant for that acquaintance, now back in America, for the crime of femicide, the act of killing a woman based on her gender.
On the one hand, the U.S. government is going to take this seriously, and on the other hand, it's not obligated to turn her over.
On October 29th, local police reports state that a Baja Resort town guest told medical staff around 2 in the afternoon that Robinson had drunk a lot of alcohol, a doctor determining she was stable but dehydrated, adding Robinson's acquaintances refused to send her to the hospital. The police report stating the Charlotte native went into cardiac arrest, declared dead by 6 p.m. But an autopsy differing from that report, stating medical officials arrived before 3 p.m., quickly declaring Robinson dead from severe spinal cord injury and a dislocated neck. Robinson's family wants answers.
I'm just waiting on that day when someone can be arrested. That's all I'm waiting on.
As for those contradictions, Dan Abrams tells us that can happen when you have different officials looking into the same case, but that can be problematic for prosecutors. Janae?
Still so many unanswered questions, Doreen. Thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans.
So that's the refresh for that. That's a refresh for you guys that may have forgotten the details of what happened in the Shanquilla Robinson case. All right, so the last update we're going to do, and I think I had already brought this to you guys' attention, but just to let you guys know, the number one suspect in this situation is Dejanay Jackson, which we all know that she's changed her name, okay, as of June 5th of 2023. Court documents from the Guilford Clerk of Court, Superior Court rather, shows that on June 5th of 2023, Dejanay Jackson filed a petition to legally change her name. Okay, she's the one who was seen in the video assaulting Shanquilla and unalived her. The documents revealed that she requested the alias Imani Green. So she's changed her name from Dejanay Jackson, the girl who attacked Shanquilla Robinson. Okay, she changed her name to Imani Green on June 5th of 2023. So they are hiding in plain sight. Okay, she's also moved, I'm hearing, from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. She's moved to, I think they said, Kentucky or somewhere. So she's getting way out of the way. She's moved, changed her name, like she doesn't want this is the last she's probably changed the way she looks by now, but that's the last picture that we've known her to look like. Okay, that's how we've last known her to look. So I'm pretty sure she's trying to change how she looks to avoid there we go, to avoid prosecution. Dejanay Jackson, okay, that is her. But she has changed her name to Imani Green to I guess avoid prosecution, maybe, and to maybe hide from public scrutiny of people saying, girl, you need to turn yourself in, and y'all get it. But yeah, so that's the update on that. So she has changed her name, and hopefully which would probably make it more difficult for Mexican authorities to extradite, because now she's under a different name. When they do the extradition papers to have her taken back to Mexico, now they're going to have to make sure they do it under the right name. If they do it under Dejanay Jackson, which is the person who committed the crime, she is now Imani Green. So I hope they get all of these things correct. I'm pretty sure that Ben Crump is on the job. I'm pretty sure they already know about this because this is public information. If they're attorneys, I'm sure that they've researched and they found all of this out. So once they get the final extradition papers to send her back to Mexico to stand trial for and serve her time for unaliving Shanquilla Robinson, it will definitely be under the right name, Imani Green, aka Dejanay Jackson. Okay, so that's the update on that. We're going to go ahead and end this video now. Thank you guys so much for coming over for this update. Okay, so $100 million lawsuit has been filed in this Shanquilla Robinson case. Okay, for those of you that did not know, again, $100 million lawsuit is filed in the Shanquilla Robinson case from Ben Crump and their attorneys. Okay, so you guys heard it just here, and we heard some other updates on other cases as well. So we're going to end that video. Let me get back to my main screen. All right, so thank you so much to my mods, Bill Wilson, KBR Tyra, Scorpion Miss. Thank you, Truth TV Podcast. Thank you, Rose Armstead. Thank you guys for modding, and thank you to all the Caramelians that came over. Please don't forget to hit the like button on this video. Share the video if you would like as well. Okay, let's get out of here because I got to come back. I got 2 more topics that I need to talk about and update you guys on as well. So I'm kind of working, y'all. I'm multitasking. I'm working and I'm working. Okay, so yes, I'll see you guys back in a little bit as I get the information for the next video. And until then, I'll see you guys then. Bye.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go.